Before the light, before the light, before the light, before the light. In the quiet where my heartbeat was the only thing that moved, I lay still beneath the shadows of a night I never chose. Every breath felt like a whisper of a truth I couldn't see. I was waiting for a morning that was somehow waiting for me. And the dark hung soft around me, not unkind, just holding on, like it knew that I was fragile and the night was almost gone. Before the first light found me, I felt the world begin to turn. Oh, warmth beneath my ribs like a slow and gentle burn. And though I couldn't see it, I knew the sun was on its way to show me there was softness still left in today. Golden breath almost here. There were memories on my pillow, little echoes of the past. I could feel their weight unravel as the night began to pass. And the silence wasn't empty, no, it held a quiet truth, that the healing I'd been longing for would start with something small, something new. And I felt a tiny shimmer, like a sigh beneath my skin, telling me the world was changing, though the light had not yet come in. Before the first light found me, something gentle stirred my chest, a feeling I'd forgotten slowly rising from its rest. And though the room was dim, I felt a glow I couldn't see, like the promise of a morning trying softly to reach me. Maybe healing doesn't thunder, maybe it just hums along. Maybe all the broken pieces learn their own quiet song. And maybe when the sunlight comes, it won't erase the night, but teach it how to soften in the gentleness of light. Hold on, hold on. So I opened up my breathing, just a little slow and true. And the warmth beneath my heartbeat grew a shade I never knew. And the darkness lost its edges in the calm I let unfold, like my spirit finally loosened all the things it used to hold. Before the first light found me, I found something of my own, a softness in the shadows, a place I could call home. And when the sun comes rising, I'll be ready finally for the warmth that's always waited to begin the day in me. The light is almost here. A gentle day begins here. The light is coming in. A thin line of golden color slips across my quiet room, soft as breath against my heartbeat, warm as morning after gloom. It settles on my open chest, right where last night felt the heaviest. And in that tiny, tender moment, something in me whispers yes. And the world feels newly woven, like the threads were made for me. Every glimmer on the ceiling sings, you're right where you should be. Soft sun on my quiet chest, you arrive like a gentle truth. Not loud, not bright, just tender, like a memory of youth. You don't ask me to be stronger, you don't push away the rest. You just warm the space inside me, soft sun on my quiet chest. Let it warm, let it rest. I feel the night melt off my shoulders, not all at once, but piece by piece. The room is quiet, deeply breathing, like it's offering me peace. I close my eyes and let it touch the part of me that hid in fear. A golden hand upon my heart, saying softly, I am here. And the warmth moves slow and honest, like it knows what I've been through. Never rushing, never asking, just reminding me what's true. Soft sun on my quiet chest, you unfold me from within. A gentle glowing presence where the healing can begin. You don't chase away the shadows, you just show me I'm still blessed. In this tender dawn you touch me, soft sun on my quiet chest. And maybe this is how it starts, a single ray, a softened heart, a breath that doesn't ache so much, a morning made of gentle touch. Maybe light was always here, waiting for the night to clear. Maybe I was always meant to feel this warmth again. Golden morning, come to rest. So I lift my face toward the window, let the sunlight meet my skin. It feels like someone's kindness letting itself in. And the fear that kept me quiet loses hold inside my chest. As the light begins its healing, I become a little less stressed. Soft sun on my quiet chest, you remind me I'm alive, that even after heavy nights a gentler day can rise. You don't fix me in a The sunlight settles on my shoulder, spilling softly through the shade. I follow every quiet moment, like a path the morning made. My chest is rising, slowly falling, little waves against the shore. I didn't know how much I needed to feel my breath again once more. And the rhythm starts to soften all the worry I've been keeping. The room expands around my breathing, and I feel my body waking. Breathing slowly into the morning, letting every moment land, letting sunlight teach my heartbeat how to move with open hands. Breathing slowly into the morning, not too fast and not too deep, just enough to hear the quiet in the parts I couldn't read. There's a looseness in my shoulders, where the night had tied its knots. Little tremors are releasing what I carried, what I lost. And the room feels somehow brighter, even though the light's the same. It's my breathing that is changing, how I speak my inner name. With each breath I feel a softness spreading down my cautious spine, like the air itself is whispering, this tender moment's yours, not mine. Breathing slowly into the morning, letting calmness fill my chest, letting warmth dissolve the shadows into something like a rest. Breathing slowly into the morning, letting healing find its place in the quiet golden stillness, falling gently on my face. Maybe pieces built in layers, thin as breath and soft as skin. Maybe healing takes its time, but always knows where to begin. In the rising, in the falling, in the quiet in between, in the air that holds my heartbeat like a promise, soft and clean. I trace the sunlight on my blanket, like it's showing me the way, guiding me toward a morning made of softness, made of grace. And the pieces I've been guarding start to loosen, start to blend, because breathing into morning feels like meeting with a friend. Breathing slowly into the morning, where the gentle day begins, where my chest learns to be open, even where the ache has been. Breathing slowly into the morning, letting every moment voice that sets it free. The sun drifts further through the curtains, painting gold across my knees. It feels like something kind of honest, like the world exhaling ease. I sit up slowly in the quiet, let the warmth fall where it may, and in that gentle glowing moment I feel the start of a new day. It's like the light has learned my shadow knows exactly where they live. It doesn't ask for explanations, only offers what it gives. And the warmth called out my name, soft as breath and bright as flame, like it knew the hurt I carried, and it loved me all the same. Yes, the warmth called out my name, not demanding, never loud, just a quiet invitation, pulling sunlight through the clouds. My chest a little less confined, the room no longer feels like weight, more like space I get to find. And when the light rests on my shoulder, I feel something shift inside, as if the world is gently saying you can choose to stay alive. All the pieces I've been guarding start to warm beneath this glow, and the things I feared for ages feel a little less like foes, because the warmth called out my name, like a friend who always came, not to fix me, not to question, just to sit with me in flame. Yes, the warmth called out my name, and the echo in my chest sang a fragile little answer that I didn't know I kept. Maybe healing is a whisper, not a promise or a plan. Maybe light can teach me gently how to hold my heart again. If the morning keeps on reaching for the parts of me that ache, maybe I can learn to open in the time that warmth can take. The sunlight settles on my open palms, like a truth I long forgot, that even after nights of breaking, there is softness in the spot where the warmth keeps landing slowest, where my guard is worn and thin. A reminder that the healing has already begun within. Yes, the warmth called out my name, and I finally heard it clear. Not a shout but gentle guidance, saying you belong right here. When the warmth called out my name, I felt something real ignite, like the first soft step toward living in the safety of the light.
Sunlight flickers on the dust, like little stars that learn to fly. They rise and fall in golden currents, painting stories in the sky. I watch them drift above my breathing, little lanterns floating near, and in their dance I feel a stirring. Tiny hopes begin to appear. They move so soft I almost miss them, but my chest can feel them there. Gentle sparks of something healing, tiny hopes moving through the air, tiny hopes moving through the air. Soft as whispers, light as prayer, carried on the morning's glow, going places I can't know. Tiny hopes moving through the air, showing me the world can care, even when my heart feels bare. Tiny hopes are everywhere. They land on corners of my blanket, settle softly in my hair. Warm reminders I'm still living in a world that wants me here. And though their glow is faint and fragile, it's enough to shift the day. A quiet promise in the sunlight that the dark can fade away. And I breathe a little deeper, feel the warmth replace the cold, like the air itself is offering little futures I can hold. Tiny hopes moving through the air, falling gently everywhere, touching places dimmed by night, turning shadows into light. Tiny hopes moving through the air, so much smaller than a prayer, yet they lift me from despair, like the softest morning care. Maybe hope is not a thunder crashing wildly through the sky. Maybe it's the way the warmth collect my fears. And every time I breathe out slowly, hope grows louder in my ears. The tiny sparks drift all around me, settling softly everywhere. And I feel my heart grow open to the tenderness they share. Tiny hopes moving through the air, catching on the morning's flare, filling spaces once too dark, lighting corners of my heart. Tiny hopes moving through the air, guiding me with gentle care. With each breath they gather there. Tiny hopes that I can bear. The tiny hopes I felt this morning drift down softly to my chest. They settle in the quiet places where my worries used to rest. I feel a trembling in my heartbeat, not from fear but something new. Like a door that's been long hidden starts to shift and let me through. Every breath feels slightly wider, every moment feels less tight. Something gentle's moving inward, filling shadows with its light. This is where my heart begins to open, slow and fragile, soft and true. Like the morning sun is chosen just to show me what it knew. This is where my heart begins to open, not in leaps but quiet lines, letting warmth replace the broken in the spaces that were mine. Touch the place just on my rib cage, where the night once lingered long, and the warmth that rests there now feels like the start of a new song. It hums inside my smallest moments, moves like breath along the seam, and the pieces I've been guarding shift like petals in a dream. I don't rush it, I just notice how the tension starts to fade, how my chest becomes a garden where the light is gently laid. This is where my heart begins to open, letting kindness seep inside, letting hope untie the memories I spent years trying to hide. is where my heart begins to open, a beginning soft and slow, learning how to let the morning touch the places I don't show. Maybe opening is quiet, more like soft unfolding leaves, more like breathing without pressure, more like taking what I need. Maybe healing isn't sudden, maybe it's a warming place where the light just keeps returning till the heart has room for grace. The sunlight feels familiar, not a stranger at my door. I can feel it on my heartbeat, like I've known this warmth before. And though the fear still stands beside me, it no longer feels like stone. For the first time in a long time, I don't feel so much alone. This is where my heart begins to open, in the glow of gentle day, where the tenderness of morning shows me safer, softer ways. This is where my heart begins to open, slow and steady, breath by breath, learning how to carry living in the sunlight's quiet depths. The sunlight spills across the bedsheet, laying softly on my skin. I feel the morning fully forming, letting quiet settle in. My breath is open, slower, hurrying, holding warmth instead of fear. And in this simple golden stillness, a gentle day begins right here. Everything feels slightly tender, like the world is waking too. Every shadow seems less heavy, bathed in softer shades of blue. A gentle day begins here, in the smallest, warmest way, in the space between my heartbeat and the rise of calming rays. A gentle day begins here, where the quiet holds me close, where the light becomes a promise that I'm safe enough to grow.
that drifted toward me now feel settled in my chest. They move like morning birds in circles, finding branches where they rest. The fear I carried through the nighttime feels more distant in this glow, as if the sun itself is whispering, take your time, take it slow. And the warmth that called my name still lingers gently on my frame, a reminder that I'm changing, even if I look the same. A gentle day begins here, with the hush of healing light, with the sense that I am rising from the longer, darker night. A gentle day begins here, where my breath feels true again, where the sunlight writes a softness on the places I have been. Maybe this is what it means to find a moment made for peace, not perfection, not an ending, just a quiet, slow release. And maybe gentleness can bloom in the spaces pain once grew, turning shadows into stories of a heart that made it through. Feels wider than the worries I once thought would fill the day. Now the morning feels like guidance, pointing softly toward the way. And though everything's still simple, something shifts inside my mind, a belief that I am worthy of the calm I finally find. A gentle day begins here, in the warmth across my chest, in the breath that feels more open, in the moments built for rest. A gentle day begins here, where I listen, where I see that the morning isn't outside, it's awakening in me. The quiet hum of early morning drifts like calm across the floor. I hear the soft outside awakening, just as I did once before. But something in the air feels different, no divide between inside, as if the world is gently rising at the same pace as my mind. The tender notes of waking birds move like breath along the breeze, and for once their gentle chorus feels like it was made for me. The world wakes with me this time, not ahead of me or late, but in rhythm with my heartbeat, in a softer, slower state. The world wakes with me this time, in a warm and golden rhyme, and I finally feel connected to the morning's fragile shine. day's first gentle grin. I breathe in all the tiny motions, shift like waves beside the shore. It feels like everything around me knows I'm healing, knows I'm more. The distant world no longer rushes, doesn't feel so far away. Every sound feels like a whisper saying you're allowed to stay. The world wakes with me this time, letting sunlight guide my spine. Every shadow feels less heavy, every thought a gentler sign. The world wakes with me this time, as if morning's quiet climb moves in sync with my own rising in a beautifully shared design. Maybe mornings always waited for the moment I could hear how the world and I were linked in the spaces soft and clear. Maybe waking isn't lonely when I open up my chest to the tender small connections that the morning holds the best. Sway lightly in the sunlight, and I sway just a little too. It feels like life is moving with me in a rhythm fresh and new. And for once the day feels gentle, not a mountain, not a climb, just a world that rises softly and wakes right when I do this time. The world wakes with me this time, holding space for breath and light, letting every sound remind me I am part of what feels right. The world wakes with me this time, in a peaceful shared design, and the morning feels like something that was waiting to be mine.
A thin line of light slips inward, drawing patterns on the wall. It moves like something quiet speaking, soft, deliberate and small. I watch it flicker on my fingers, feel it warm my resting hands, and without a thought or warning, I begin to hum again. It's a sound without intention, just a breath that learned to sing. Something gentle, something open, floating lightly on a string. I'm into the light between the curtains, letting morning find my tune. Soft and low, the notes are certain. I am healing in this room. Humming to the light between the curtains. Not a song, but something true. just a sound that whispers softly. I am feeling warm anew. The shadows soften at the edges as the golden glow expands. Every inch of quiet sunlight feels like calm placed in my hands. My hum drifts upward with the dust as it dances through the air, like the tiny hopes from earlier have returned to settle there. And the melody that forms is not planned and not rehearsed. It's just breathing turned to music in the softness of the first. Humming to the light between the curtains, letting warmth become my guide. Every note a small reflection of the peace I feel inside. Humming to the light between the curtains, letting healing hum along, finding comfort in the moment where my breath becomes a song. Maybe humming is a language spoken softly by the heart. Something fragile, something honest, saying here is where I start. Maybe morning pulls it from me, like the tide pulls at the sea. A reminder I'm still living in the gentlest parts of me. The room feels warmer when I hum, like the sound expands the air. Even curtains seem to shimmer as the light grows stronger there. And for once I'm not just waking, I'm returning bit by bit to the place where quiet humming means my heart's begun to knit. Humming to the light between the curtains, letting morning hold me close, letting every note remind me of the tenderness I chose. Humming to the light between the curtains, in the glow that finds me here, in this fragile, gentle moment, I feel everything grow clear. The sunlight rests upon my pillow, warm as someone's steady hand. It settles softly on my breathing, like it perfectly and understands. My chest feels open, not wide open, but enough to take in grace. And in the hush of early daylight, I begin to find my place. The humming from a moment earlier still lingers in my bones. A quiet song, a soft returning to a space I once called home. This is the moment I finally feel safe, in the warmth, in the breath, in the gentle embrace. Here in the calm where the shadows grow thin, here in the light where new mornings begin. This is the moment I finally feel safe, a softness that time couldn't ever replace. The weight inside my ribcage shift from pressure into peace. The tightness I've carried quietly loosens just a small degree. And maybe healing isn't sudden, maybe safety isn't loud, maybe it arrives as sunlight breaking slowly through a cloud. And the world outside is waking, but it doesn't pull me down. Today it feels like something gentle, like a far-off caring sound. This is the moment I finally feel safe, when the morning lays warmth where the cold used to stay, when my breath isn't trembling to keep fear away, when my heart feels allowed to just be here today. This is the moment I finally feel safe, a quiet that fills me in its tender embrace. Maybe safety doesn't shout, maybe it lies in letting go, and trusting breath to guide me out from places I no longer know. Maybe safety is a sunrise, soft enough to meet my pain, bright enough to help me see that I'm ready once again. So I let the light surround me, let it touch the parts I hide. For the first time in a long time, I don't flinch from what's inside. And even though I'm still unfolding, even though I'm not yet whole, there is peace here in the morning that is stitching up my soul. This is the moment I finally feel safe, wrapped in warmth, wrapped in light, wrapped in soft, slow pace. Here where the morning forgives all my weight, here where my heart whispers you're doing okay. This is the moment I finally feel safe, and the safety feels quiet, and the quiet feels brave. Steam drifts upward in the sunlight, curling softly toward my face. I hold the warmth between my fingers, feel it settle into place. My hands are steady, barely trembling, with the quiet morning's balm. And I breathe a little deeper, with this cup of gentle calm. The safety from a moment earlier still echoes in my chest. And now the warmth I'm holding helps my heartbeat come to rest. With my hands wrapped around a cup of calm, I feel my world grow safe and warm. Every breath a gentle psalm, every worry losing form. With my hands wrapped around a cup of calm, I give myself the grace to be here in this golden morning balm, where the quiet lives in me. The cup is small but feels like shelter, a soft anchor in my palms. It gathers all my scattered pieces, holds them gently with its warmth. The window glows with early sunlight, dancing in the air. And in this simple, tender moment, I feel fully held and here. The world feels lighter than it used to, not because the weight is gone, because I'm learning slowly how to breathe and carry on. When my hands wrapped around a cup of calm, I let the warmth unmake the night. Let every soft and gentle charm guide me toward a kinder light. With my hands wrapped around a cup of calm, I don't have to be so strong. I just sit with what I am and feel the morning linger long. Maybe healing starts in moments that the world might call too small. A warm cup, a steady breath, a quiet space to let things fall. Maybe calm is not a promise, maybe it's a fleeting friend who visits when the sunlight finds the strength I've yet to mend. And as I sip, the warmth grows deeper, spreading gently through my chest. It's not magic, it's not sudden, but it helps me feel my best. For the first time during morning, I don't brace for something wrong. I just sit with open fingers, letting stillness make me strong. With my hands wrapped around a cup of calm, I feel the world align again. A soft reprieve, a healing balm, a moment made for oxygen.
With my hands wrapped around a cup of calm, I know I'm safe enough to stay in this warmth, in this breath, on this gentle growing day.
The warmth still lingers on my fingers from the cup I held before. It rests inside my quiet breathing, like a key within a door. I rise slowly from the moment where the calm had settled deep, and I noticed that my footsteps feel much lighter than last week. There's a tenderness inside me that was hiding out of view. Now it meets the morning sunlight like it always somehow knew. I'm taking slow steps into a softer version of me, where the weight on my shoulders is allowed to be free, where my heart doesn't harden just to keep itself safe, where I move through the morning at a gentler pace. Slow steps into a softer version of me, a place I never thought I'd see. The world outside feels less demanding, less like mountains I must climb. I hear the birds and feel their rhythm echo softly and in mine. My thoughts don't shout the way they used to. They drift slower, land with care, like the morning taught them patience in the golden open air. And the kindness that I'm learning doesn't feel so far away. It's a quiet revelation that grows brighter with the day. I'm taking slow steps into a softer version of me, with a heart that can listen and a breath that can breathe, with a body that loosens when the worries appear, with a mind that can whisper you're allowed to be here. Slow steps into a softer version of me, the truth unfolding peacefully. Maybe softness isn't fragile, maybe softness isn't weak. Maybe it's the strength of knowing when to rest and when to speak. Maybe opening my heart doesn't mean I'll come undone. Maybe softness is the courage to be gentle with the one I am becoming. The air feels warmer on my skin now, like it knows I'm learning how. to walk lighter through my mornings, to be present in the now. And though healing is still winding, I can feel the changes start. Every slow step that I'm taking holds the shape of softer heart. I'm taking slow steps into a softer version of me, where the fear loosens gently and the light helps me see that becoming isn't sudden, it's a gradual release. It's a quiet, steady journey into something built for peace. Slow steps into a softer version of me. And for the first time, I wanna be. Settles on my shoulders like a truth I've long denied. I see the echoes of what left me, softly gathered and inside. The pain I held from years behind me doesn't cut the way it did. It shimmers now in gentler colors, like a lantern's flickering lit. And the warmth that fills my ribcage shows me something shifting bright. All the things I thought were gone start returning now as light. Things I lost return as light, not as shadows filled with fright. In the morning, soft and slight, they become a gentler sight. Things I lost return as light, not to haunt me but to guide, filling spaces once too tight with the glow they left behind. I used to fear now rest easy when they rise. They land like quiet glowing embers in the corners of my eyes. Each one softened by the morning, by the breath I've learned to take, showing me the ways I've changed, all the strength I didn't fake. I don't flinch when they approach me, don't retreat or try to hide. They are simply gentle echoes warmed by everything I've tried. Things I lost return as light, glowing where the pain once lay, turning sorrow into insight, guiding me from yesterday. Things I lost return as light, not to break me, not to stay, but to show how even darkness learns to brighten in its way. Maybe loss is just a story, waiting for a softer shape. Maybe time can turn the aching into something that remains. Maybe everything that hurt me left a spark I couldn't see. And in morning's gentle quiet, all those sparks return to me. The sunlight lands upon my memories, like a friend who knows my heart, tracing where I've cried and broken, where I slowly learned to start. And despite the quiet trembling of remembering what I've been, I feel light in every shadow, finding ways to seep back in. Things I lost return as light, filling corners once held tight. Every softened memory bright turns the darkness into sight. Things I lost return as light. As the morning rises true, I can feel them all inside me, shining in a different hue. Shining in a different hue. Morning touches old burdens, resting deep inside my chest. They've been heavy in the shadows, never giving me much rest. But today the sunlight lingers in the corners where they hide, and the warmth begins to loosen all the tightness held inside. No grand moment, no clear breaking, just a shift I barely trust, as the weight I've carried slowly lifts so quietly like dust. The weight lifts quietly like dust, soft and slow and breaking crust, rising gently in the light, leaving space for something bright. The weight lifts quietly like dust, not a cry but calming gust, as the morning gives me room to breathe in colors I once lost. I exhale and feel the tremble of a heart learning release. The ache I've held for far too long starts to fade into a peace. The air around me shimmers lightly, carrying pieces of my past, not to haunt or pull me downward, just to show they didn't last. And the sunlight through the curtain Shows like kindness I can trust. As the weight I flee forever lives so quietly like dust. The way lives quietly like dust, floating upward in the hush. What once felt too strong to hold grows so feather soft to touch. The way lives quietly like dust, letting go without a thrust. Letting morning take the sorrow and transform it into trust. Maybe letting go is gentle, not a fight or breaking sound. Maybe pain dissolves in moments where the calm is all around. Maybe lifting doesn't thunder, maybe healing doesn't shout. Maybe dust shows how the heart can release what locked it out. Now the corners of my spirit feel much lighter than before. There's a softness in the silence that invites me to want more. And I realize in this quiet, what I feared would always stay has begun to rise and shimmer in the warmest, gentle way. The way lives quietly like dust, rising with the morning's trust, leaving room for breath and bloom, clearing out the inner gloom. The way lives quietly like dust, and in this fragile, tender gust, I can feel the truth at last. I am freer than my past. I am freer than my past. Sunlight reaches toward the corners where my shadows used to stay. They once felt cold and unforgiving, but they look different today. Their edges softening in the brightness, blending gently with the gold. Like the parts of me that frightened me are not as heavy as before. The healing from the morning's warmth has grown deeper than I know. And in the quiet I can see even my shadows learn to glow. Even my shadows learn to glow in the tenderness of morning slow. All the pieces I once feared to show find a light they didn't know. Even my shadows learn to glow, turning pain to something low, letting warmth replace the woe in places I thought couldn't grow.
shade of gray. They shimmer like the dust that rises when the sunlight fills the day. I don't push them out or hide them, don't pretend they're not a part. Instead I let the morning hold them with the gentleness of heart. And the light that lands inside me shows the truth I'm learning slow. Every shadow has a softness when the morning teaches glow. Even my shadows learn to glow where the warmest feelings go. Every ache begins to slow, blending with the amber flow. Even my shadows learn to glow, not as darkness but as show of the growth that starts below, in the heart that seeks to know. Maybe healing doesn't mean that the shadows fade away. Maybe they just change their colors when the light begins to stay. Maybe everything I've hidden isn't meant to disappear. Maybe glowing is a language of a heart becoming clear. My shadows feel familiar, not like warnings or alarms, just reminders of the journey that has led me to this calm. And the sunlight on them shivers in a golden gentle throat, proof upon my spirit of the warmth that helps me grow. Even my shadows learn to glow, softening where hurts would show, touched by morning's steady flow. They become a lighter echo. Even my shadows learn to glow, and in that warmth I finally know every part of me can grow when I let the morning glow. Across my ribcage with a softness mild and clear, and for once within the stillness I can hear my heart without fear. It beats a little slow and tender, not the frantic pace of night, more like waves against the shoreline, guided guided gently by the light. And the rhythm doesn't scare me, doesn't echo with old pain. It feels steady, warm and present, like a friend that's back again. I can hear my heart without fear, beating softly in my ear. In this golden atmosphere, everything feels crystal clear. I can hear my heart without fear, and the truth becomes sincere. I've been waiting all these years just to feel this close, this near. That once shook my breathing now just settle in their place. They no longer twist my heartbeat, no more tightening in my chest. The morning has a certain mercy when the wraps around my mind, letting feelings rise in safety that I once refused to find. For the first time I can listen to my pulse without a treat, letting every quiet moment feel complete in its repeat. I can hear my heart without fear, letting every beat appear. Even when the echo's near, I don't shrink or disappear. I can hear my heart without fear, each soft thud a souvenir of the mornings it brought me here, where my courage reappears. Maybe fear was just a shield for a heart that needed rest. Maybe now that I am healing, I can hear it at its best. Maybe trust was never absent, just asleep beneath the ache. And the morning light awakened what the darkness couldn't take. Now the quiet feels like comfort, not a place where worry grows. I can sit with my own rhythm as it rises, falls and slows. And it tells me I'm still living, still becoming, still sincere, and that nothing in this moment needs to hurt or disappear. I can hear my heart without fear, letting love draw softly near. In the calm of morning sphere, every beat feels like a tear, but a tear of gentle cheer. For I finally see it clear, I am safe enough to hear my heart without fear.
Sunlight moves slowly inward, painting gold along my thoughts. It rests on places I've been hiding, where old worries once were caught. I feel the warmth reshape the edges, softening what used to bind. And in the stillness of the sunlight, the sun writes warmth across my mind. The patterns I once feared repeating start to loosen, start to fade, as if the light is tracing over all the marks the dark had made. The sun writes warmth across my mind, line by line and kind by kind. Every fear becomes unlined, every thought more gently signed. The sun writes warmth across my mind, in a script that's soft, refined, leaving tenderness behind, in the places once confined. Old sentences of self-doubt crumble in the glow against my skin. They dissolve like melting frost when the warmer hours begin. The stories I kept telling start to shift to something new. Not perfection, not erasing, just a voice that feels more true. Where the darkness left its writing, light now gently overlays. Not to hide what I've been through, but to show much softer ways. The sun writes warmth across my mind, turning harshness into kind, letting brighter thoughts unwind, letting clarity remind. The sun writes warmth across my mind, and the heaviness I find starts to loosen and combine with the ache it intertwine. Maybe thinking becomes lighter when the morning teaches grace, when the sunlight draws in stories that once felt too cold to face. Maybe warmth is just a teacher with a pen made out of glow, writing truths I never noticed on the pages I outgrow. Like a classroom where the lesson is my breath, where the light is patient with me as it rewrites all the rest. And the thoughts that once felt jagged fall to rhythm, fall in line in the quiet, in the sunlight, as it writes across my mind. The sun writes warmth across my mind, turning sorrow into sign, showing healing can be timed in the gentle, slow design. The sun writes warmth across my mind, and with every softened line I can see the way I'm finding peace I thought I'd never find. Sunlight gathers at my feet, climbing softly up my knees. It fills the room with quiet promise, moves like warm and willing breeze. And as it spills across my body, I can feel my worries fade. Not erased, but gently shifting in the brightness it has made. Every shadow feels less certain, every thought got a bit more bright. And suddenly within this glow, everything feels possible in this life. Everything feels possible in this life, where the warmth turns the fragile into something bright, where the fear loses power in the softest sight, and the world feels open, calm and right. Everything feels possible in this light, a gentle truth that rises with the morning tide. The morning breeze slips through the window, carrying little hints of change. It touches lightly on my shoulder, whispers things that rearrange. A quiet courage stirs within me, fresh as dew on morning air. And knowing that the path ahead feels more tender, feels more fair. And the doubts I held so tightly lose their grip in this new sight. For the first time in a long time, everything feels possible in this light. Everything feels possible in this light, where the shadows retreat from the gentle shine, where the heart beats steady, soft aligned, and the world feels kinder to my mind. Everything feels possible in this light, filling every thought with something pure and right. Maybe hope is woven softly through the threads of morning sun, pulling gently at the pieces until healing has begun. Maybe warmth can hold the answers that the nighttime couldn't trace, showing possibility in the softness of its grace. The golden beams surround me like a promise I can trust, that the day will hold its mercy if I meet it without rush. And the world that once felt distant feels inviting, feels alive in this shimmer. In this moment I feel ready to arrive. Everything feels possible in this light, where my breath and hope, future bright, and I finally feel alive. Everything feels possible in this life, and I carry that warmth inside as the day unfolds inside. Everything feels possible in this light. The morning sits inside my ribcage, settled calm against my chest. The light that's filled the room for hours feels like something I possess. My breath no longer shakes or falters, no more trembling to the core. It rises gentle with the sunlight, falls as steady as before. And somewhere in this quiet moment, something softly reconnects, as if the healing I've been chasing meets my breath without regret. This is where healing finally meets my breath, where the warmth replaces all the fear that's left, where the rhythm finds a steady, gentle depth, where my heartbeat knows a softer kind of step. This is where healing finally meets my breath, and the peace arises quiet as a hush of cleft. The shadows I've been carrying sit beside me, calm and tame. They no longer twist my breathing, no longer whisper that old shame. The sunlight holds them like old stories, without judgment, without sound, letting each one simply settle on the softened morning ground. And I exhale just a little longer than the breath before, feeling healing flood my senses as it finds its open door. This is where healing finally meets my breath, where the air feels like a gift instead of test, where the morning holds the ache with tenderness, where the past begins to loosen its distress. This is where healing finally meets my breath, where I breathe in calm and breathe out what's been kept. Maybe healing isn't sudden, maybe breath was always key, a rhythm I had lost at times but still lived quietly in me. Maybe mornings like this moment are the places I return to remember I am human, made to soften, made to learn. Sunlight fully, let it settle where I ache. I exhale into the spaces that the night could never break. And in this gentle glowing union, something deep inside is set, as warmth and breath dissolve the distance between hurting and reset. This is where healing finally meets my breath, where I feel the truth beneath the day's caress, where the morning wraps around me like a nest, and my chest becomes a place of tenderness. This is where healing finally meets my breath, and the life ahead feels softer than the life that's left.
The sunlight gathers in my footsteps as I rise from where I've been. The room feels lighter than the shadows that once kept me tucked within. My breath is steady, soft and open, warm from everything I've learned. And the path ahead feels gentle, not a place where I'll return. My heart moves with the morning, slow and certain in its beat, and I feel the world extend itself beneath my waking feet. And I walk forward gently, with a softness in my stride, with the healing of the morning resting warmly at my side. And I walk forward gently, no loud promise, no grand plea, just a tender, quiet courage in the person I can be. My breathing now just follow from behind. They no longer guide my footsteps, they no longer cloud my mind. The sunlight on my shoulder feels like something I can trust, a reminder of the journey that turned heaviness to dust. And every step feels honest, made of light and slow repair, as if the air I'm walking into knows exactly why I care. And I walk forward gently, with the morning in my chest, with the softness I've been learning, through the quiet, through the rest. And I walk forward gently, letting hope move close to me, letting breath become my anchor in the calm I choose to see. Maybe moving on is subtle, not a run but steady pace. Maybe healing is a journey where each moment has its place. Maybe gentleness is power in a world that rushes fast, and the courage I am holding is a truth meant to outlast. The door ahead is wide and open, filled with ordinary light. Not a blaze, not overwhelming, just enough to feel like right. And the person I am stepping as feels more whole than yesterday, being shaped by quiet mornings, learning how to find their way. And I walk forward gently, with the sun